Goodness. All right, well, let's bring in Morgan Ortagus, former State Department spokesperson and founder of Polaris National Security. Morgan, it feels like we're in uncharted territory here, even though we're talking about a region that is historically quite volatile. You just heard Trey Yank saying that he's never seen fighting quite like this before. So break down the situation at hand from your perspective and how the United States should respond to this.
Well, first of all, I'm in the Middle East right now. I'm coming live to our audience from Doha, from Qatar. And I can tell you that the Qataris and the people I'm talking with here today, everybody was caught by surprise. And there will be a whole assessment of why that happened. But just to set the bigger context, this is Shabbat in Israel right now. This is also a high holy day, Simchat Torah. We're at the end of Yom Kippur. We also know that this attack is basically coming on the anniversary, the 50-year anniversary of the Yom Kippur War, where sadly, as we all remember in our history, Israel was also surprised in the attack on that day. Now, what's really different about this attack, as Pete was just describing, compared to like the Yom Kippur War per se, is the sophistication of the terrorists and how this was designed also for social media. You can see that Hamas and their entities are showing the attacks. They were showing their militants coming in on these gliders, and they're getting this stuff out in social media to try to rev up the Arab world. And you saw that immediately they were calling for Hezbollah, which is in Lebanon. Again, as Pete pointed out, they were calling for all of these various terrorist factions to unite. Now, what do all of these terrorist factions have in common? So you have Hamas, which is in Gaza, you have Hezbollah in Lebanon, you have the Houthis in Yemen. We could go through all the lists of terrorist organizations. What they all have in common, they're all trying to kill Israel, and they are all funded by Iran. So why am I in the Middle East, Carly? I was here, I was set to go to Israel on Monday, which I will obviously not be doing now, to go to a conference that is focused on Israel and Arab peace. And as we know, the Biden administration has been working and trying to get a normalization agreement between Israel and Saudi. And what does Iran want to do? What does Hamas want to do? They obviously have a vested interest in making sure that Israel cannot be at peace with other Arab states, especially not with Saudi Arabia. So number one, Iran is absolutely behind this today. And number two, I got to tell you that I am very, very concerned for the state of the world with Biden as president. And I am not trying to be overly political today by any means, but I can indict their policy. If we know that Iran is behind these attacks today from Hamas, and we know that we just gave Iran $6 billion. How in the world does that make sense if we know that they are funding this terrorist activity? Also, in 2 weeks, in just 2 weeks from now, at the United Nations, the arms embargo will expire against Iran. So what does that mean? That means that Iran will be able to sell conventional weaponry, ballistic missiles to Russia, for example, with impunity. They're already giving Russia drones that are killing Ukrainians right now. And you'll only see the funding of terrorism that Iran has done. You'll only see that with this arms embargo expiring, with the billions of dollars that they have been given to, but with the Biden administration, you'll only see terrorism increase. Now, the Biden administration will say, oh, this money is going to schools and it only can be used for food and medicine and that sort of thing. Perhaps, but that $6 billion means that it opens up, money is fungible, right? So it opens up the rest of the revenue of the Iranian bank accounts to fund these type of attacks that you're seeing today against one of our strongest allies and one of our strongest friends and the only democracy in the Middle East, and that is the state of Israel.
Morgan, what do you expect to see in the very near future as a response from both Israel and the surrounding Arab world?
Well, obviously, Israel has to retaliate. And what's really important is that there is a strong response from this administration, a strong response from Congress. Congress should go into session today, and they should pass a resolution supporting Israel's right to defend itself unequivocally, right? There should be no questions. There should be no doing an all sides thing. In fact, somebody from the State Department, from the Palestinian Twitter account for the group that oversees that portfolio, had tweeted some some sort of all sides comment. It got deleted early this morning. There is no time for equivocation. There's no time for indecisiveness from this administration. Congress needs to get in session. They need to pass a resolution saying that they support the state of Israel. And no one should try, this administration should not try to tie Israel's hands behind their back. They should not say after a week, oh, okay, well, Israel's taking care of it. This is a massive attack, as Pete pointed out, something that Israelis have really never seen. When you see them going in and dragging a woman's body on the high holidays, when you see the reports of these terrorists going in and killing families and killing children, taking Israelis hostages, both civilians and reportedly some people in their military. This was designed to strike fear in the heart of Israelis on one of their religious and holy days for Jews, for people like me around the world. But we will not be scared. We will not be deterred. We know who exactly is behind this. And this administration has to stop with this incompetent policy of continuing to empower Iran. Iran is behind these attacks today. Stop giving them billions of dollars. Stop it. It's killing people.
You're exactly right on the assessment of how these wars usually go. The so-called international community gives Israel just enough time to do a little bit, and then the condemnation slowly but surely begins until they say, no, you have to stop this. Do you get a sense this might be different? If we're talking dozens of hostages, we're talking Israelis dead and alive in the Gaza Strip, we're talking Iranian involvement, Hamas. Here's Bibi Netanyahu. We'll just play it real quick. He said this is not an incursion. This is not a conflict. This is war. Watch.